In the hills of Bavaria, Germany, March 22, 1881, a boy was born into modest surroundings. His name, Hans Eberhard Wilhelm Wilsdorf. His father, a hardware merchant. His mother, a gentle soul. But fate struck early. Within months, both parents passed away. At 12, Hans was orphaned, placed under the guardianship of his uncle and aunt. Life was harsh, but in those early years, something awoke in him, a fascination for precision, clockwork, mechanics. He watched the pendulum, he observed gears, he felt time itself ticking in every small machine. As a young man, Hans excelled at school, especially in languages, maths, and geometry. He was curious. He moved to Switzerland in his early 20s, working in watchmaking circles in La Chaux-de-Fonds. There he met movements and artisans, saw the Swiss movements being made by firms like Eglier in Bienne. Though wristwatches were rare, and often considered delicate, even frivolous, Hans saw potential where others saw risk. A watch on the wrist, practical, elegant, and precise, that would be his dream. By 1905, at age 24, with little money but deep belief, Hans partnered with his brother-in-law Alfred Davis in London. They founded Wilsdorf and Davis. They imported Swiss movements, placed them in high-quality cases, often made in Britain, and sold them via jewelers. They had to prove two things: the watch must look beautiful, and it must be accurate. In those days, most people trusted pocket watches. Wristwatches were almost fashion accessories, not precision tools. Hans ignored the criticism. He placed large orders with Eglier of Bienne for high-precision movements. He believed precision certificates would sell their reputation. And indeed, in 1910, Rolex became the first wristwatch ever to receive the Swiss certificate of chronometric precision from the official watch rating center in Bienne. That was a milestone. Rolex +2. Bobswatches.com +2. By 1914, a Rolex wristwatch earned the Class A certificate at Kew Observatory in England, an honor until then reserved for marine chronometers. Think, pocket watches were being used by naval captains, but a wristwatch got the same recognition. Hans Wilsdorf was proving that wristwatches were not just fashion but precision instruments. Rolex +2. Bobswatches.com +2. World War I created problems. Customs duties, suspicion of anything with German ties, and the economic instability in Britain. In 1915, a high import duty made watch movements and cases expensive. So Hans shifted export operations to Switzerland, Bienne, and in 1919 he moved the company's headquarters to Geneva, officially registering Monter's Rolex S.A. in 1920. From that point, Rolex became a Swiss brand in identity, though its visionary was German-born. Bobswatches.com +2. Rolex +2. In 1908, before many of these trials, had come a symbolic moment: choosing a name. Hans Wilsdorf wanted something short, something that could be easily pronounced in any language, something elegant on a dial. Legend says he combined many letters, tested hundreds of names. One morning on a double-decker omnibus in London, as the horses pulled it along Cheapside, he heard a word in his mind: Rolex. The name was registered soon after. Rolex +2. Bobswatches.com +2. Mid-story: Innovation and Breakthroughs. Narrator continues. As the 1920s rolled in, Hans was never satisfied. Waterproofness, reliability, clarity, Rolex saw it all. In 1926, Rolex introduced the Oyster, the first wristwatch case that was water and dust-proof. It used a screw-down crown and a hermetically sealed case. To prove its durability, Hans asked a young woman, Mercedes Gleitze, to swim the English Channel wearing a Rolex Oyster. After more than 10 hours in the cold, choppy water, when the watch emerged on the other side, it still ticked. Rolex took out full-page advertisements, even put live oyster watches in aquariums in store windows, so people could see with their own eyes. Win and Thane +2. bobswatches.com. +2. In 1931 came another leap. Rolex invents the perpetual rotor, a self-winding mechanism so when you move your arm, the movement winds itself. No need to wind daily. The Oyster case plus the perpetual rotor equals Rolex Oyster Perpetual. This combination set the standard for automatic watches. bobswatches.com. +2. Win and Thane. +2. Explorers, adventurers, aviators, scientists took Rolex watches into wild places. In 1933, flights over Everest carried Rolex Oysters. Sir Malcolm Campbell smashed speed records driving the Bluebird at Bonneville, wearing a Rolex. These real-world tests gave Rolex stories to tell, and more importantly, proof. When a watch can survive extremes of altitude, temperature, pressure, people believe. The 1916 Company. +2. bobswatches.com. +2. Then came the 1940s. World War II years. The world was torn. But Rolex kept pushing. In 1945, to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the company, Rolex released the Datejust, the first wristwatch with a date window that changes automatically at midnight. It also introduced the Jubilee bracelet for that model, elegant and distinct. bobswatches.com. +2. Rolex. +2. Hans Wilsdorf, meanwhile, had personal tragedy. His wife, Florence, died in 1944. He decided to do something lasting. So in 1945, he established the Hans Wilsdorf Foundation, and in 1960, he bequeathed 100% of his shares to the foundation. Rolex would remain privately owned, not publicly traded, which meant Hans's vision, standards, control, philanthropy could continue beyond his life. bobswatches.com. +2. Rolex. +2. Growth, iconic models, and brand evolution. Narrator. In the 1950s, Rolex transformed from precision and waterproofness to defining what a professional tool watch could be. In 1953, after the successful Everest expedition, Hillary and Tenzing, the Explorer model was introduced to honor that achievement. Also in 1953 came the Submariner, built for diving, capable of surviving 100 meters underwater, then gradually pushing limits further. The Watch Buyers Group. +2. bobswatches.com. +2. In 1954, Rolex introduced the GMT Master for pilots, especially Pan AM, those who needed to track time across multiple time zones. Then came watches like the Milgauss, anti-magnetic, for scientists, to resist strong magnetic fields, and the Day-Date, also known as the President, which showed day and date, often in precious metals. Rolex had entered the realm of prestige, status, not just adventure. Wikipedia. +3. bobswatches.com. +3. The Watch Buyers Group. +3. Through the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, many challenges came. The quartz crisis, when inexpensive quartz watches from Japan threatened traditional mechanical watchmakers. Yet Rolex held firm. It continued refining mechanical movements, improving quality of materials, better alloys, better crystals, waterproofing, refining its identity as a luxury symbol as well as durability. The Watch Buyers Group. +2. The 1916 Company. +2. Rolex also expanded its presence globally. Authorized dealers in many countries, boutiques, endorsements by explorers, athletes, movie stars. The brand image became aspirational. Watches like Daytona, for motorsport, Cosmograph, etc., drew attention not only for function but for glamour. Resale value, scarcity, craftsmanship, all added to the mystique. Insert anecdotes. Famous people wearing Rolex, Rolex in films, auctions, collectors.